So I was going back and forth, but the story continues as Goldberg tries to topple the NWO. But this match, I was going back and forth on what type of match this should be, and I decided on a one-on-one match. But Goldberg has 10 minutes to defeat Scott Hall. Otherwise, he will not get a title match against Hulk Hogan after Hogan stole the belt from him. As you saw in the outline, or if I remembered to put it in the beginning. If I remembered to put it in the beginning, then you probably saw it at the beginning. But Goldberg got the belt stolen from him by Hogan, and now he has 10 minutes to defeat Scott Hall to regain the opportunity. Let's see what happens. Goldberg is now taking it to one half of the Outsiders. He hits him with the kitchen sink and goes for the first ladder press of the match. The running knee in past video games was called the kitchen sink, and that's why I referred to it as the kitchen sink, as Goldberg misses a double axe handle. And now the bad guy, rib breakers to Bill Goldberg. The first bit of offense from Scott Hall, as now he's attacking the arm. Slowing down the matchup is the best bet for Scott Hall, because he doesn't have to win. He just has to last. And if he can last 10 minutes, then he saves the leader of the NWO. Wait a second, small package. If he wins, then it's even better. But if he lasts, then he saves his boss, Hogan, the opportunity to have to face Goldberg again for the World Heavyweight Championship. Military slam by Goldberg. Goldberg is back on top of Scott Hall as we are at 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Running shoulder block into the corner, and a basement dropkick by Goldberg takes down Scott Hall. Scott Hall's got to wake up. The rate he's going, Goldberg's eating him alive, and it doesn't take long for Goldberg to finish what he starts, as Goldberg gets the wind knocked out of him, getting dropped throat first across the top rope by Scott Hall. Over the top rope goes Goldberg, selling to the outside. Another way to slow down the matchup is keep him on the outside, because you gotta win. To win, you gotta be on the inside of the ring. You can't win on the outside in this one-on-one match between Goldberg and Scott Hall. Goldberg is back up, but Scott Hall takes him over with a judo hip toss, catching Goldberg off guard. You gotta wonder if there's anger. You gotta wonder how much of the focus Goldberg has on this match with Scott Hall, and not just expecting, because Hogan cheated, because Hogan screwed him, that Goldberg would just get the automatic rematch against Hogan for the world title after Hogan cheated to keep the belt by using the ropes for leverage, and it actually resulted in a victory after the running leg drop from Hogan. Now Goldberg gets sent into the barricade by Scott Hall. Scott Hall is genuinely taking it to Goldberg on the outside. Goldberg is back up. 6 minutes. Goldberg's got to just get back in the ring. He can't waste time. Goldberg meets Scott Hall. Scott Hall blocks him whatever Goldberg had. Goldberg blocks the chokeslam. Goldberg blocks the chokeslam. Goldberg blocks Scott Hall again. Goldberg blocks Scott Hall again. Again. Picks him up. Drops him with a gutbuster this time. Drops him with a gutbuster this time. Cravat kick or savate kick. But Goldberg is ready. We're about to approach 6 minutes past. Goldberg is looking for the spear. Goldberg is looking for the spear. Scott Hall sidestepped him. Hall sidestepped him. But Goldberg is waking back up. Cravat kick. Cravat kick by Goldberg. Takes down Scott Hall. Gut wrench suplex takes over Hall. Overhead toss by Goldberg. Takes down Scott Hall. If I was him, I'd go for a cover. And honestly, if I was Goldberg, I'd think about going for a submission. But I mean, if you get barely a one count against Scott Hall now, I can't imagine getting anything out of a submission. Running shoulder block by Goldberg takes down Scott Hall. Goldberg's got to raise up the status of the match. He can't be methodical. He has to be quick. He has to be witty. And he has to not not eliminate the possibility of winning via countout if that's something he would entertain, because of the fact that honestly, he's just got to win before the time limit expires, and if he does, that will be enough for a match against the Hulkster. Goldberg goes for the spear, but again gets sidestepped by Scott Hall. Scott Hall makes Goldberg eat the mat, and now Hall's going for a lateral press. And Goldberg kicks out before the count of 1. We are past 5 minutes as Scott Hall's going for the top rope, and Scott Hall has got to meet it. A big elbow off the ropes by the bad guy. A big elbow off the ropes by the bad guy. I thought I got it, but maybe I didn't. And I don't think I did. Goldberg's got to kick out, and he does. At the count of right at the count of 1, Goldberg kicks out. Goldberg kicked out right at the count of 1, and an angry Scott Hall is just now choking the life out of the man. Scott Hall gets a knee for his trouble. Scott Hall gets a knee for his trouble. Goldberg brings him back. Backbreaker by the man. By the animal. A backbreaker by Goldberg. And now he's recovering he's getting back his momentum. Clearing the cobwebs. Tosses Goldberg. Goldberg tosses Scott Hall. Kick to the back of Scott Hall. That's gotta hurt. Even that hurts coming from anybody. But it's gotta have a little bit more behind it coming from Goldberg. Goldberg with a rear chin lock. Rear chin lock. Goldberg. Wait a second. Goldberg. I think he hesitated for a second. Thinking about going for the spear, but he goes for the jackhammer instead. We are about to approach 2 minutes, and Scott Hall kicked out. Scott Hall kicked out. The effort that Scott Hall's putting in to prevent Goldberg, and he sidesteps the spear again. That's the third time he sidestepped the spear. Choke slam by Goldberg. Choke slam on Goldberg. This could be it. Is Scott Hall gonna defeat the man? No. Goldberg kicked out. Scott Hall gets reversed. Goldberg misses the lariat. Goldberg, dragon screw. There was a little bit behind that dragon screw by the man. Behind that dragon screw. Big shoulder block takes down Scott Hall. He wanted to move him away from the ropes. I think that was the issue. We are a minute and 50 seconds remaining. Jackhammer. This has got to be it. And Goldberg, with a minute and 45 left to go, Goldberg defeats Scott Hall, and that means Goldberg gets a rematch against the Hulk Hogan for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. That means Goldberg gets a rematch against the Hulkster for the WCW World title. And you gotta wonder if this means that it'll be a match where Hogan can't win by using the ropes for leverage. Stay tuned for more from WCW as Goldberg continues to take the belt out of the grasp of Hulk Hogan and the New World Order. With that being said, that is it for me, and I will see you in the next one.